Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Podcast Assemble, a show where we talk about all of our geeky interests. We talk about movies, TV shows, comic books, and video games. My name's Tommy, still doing the intro, but I'm delighted as always to be joined by my friend and co-host from across the pond.
Flaky friend Drey.
It's the one and only wet Thor Drey. How are you, mate?
The shade that was thrown in the intro, and it's well deserved.
You got called out in a couple of messages this week, so you should have been ready to go.
I was enjoying too many sun rays in the northern beaches, and I just didn't get around to my own intro. God,
I knew you wouldn't do it.
Shameful. Absolutely.
As soon as you said it, I was like, "There's absolutely no fucking chance he's gonna make."
Now I gotta eventually do it. One day, I'm just gonna surprise you.
You should do it in my voice, so people think it's me doing it.
True.
That would be
true.
That'd be the ultimate swerve. How are you, mate?
I'm good, dude. I'm good. I got a bit of a tan this weekend. Yeah, I had a big birthday
weekend.
Turned
the big 3-0 this week.
Yeah, 30, eh?
How do you feel about that? You look a little depressed about that.
You know, I've gotten over it.
Okay.
There was a bit of the beginning of the day was pretty depressing.
Yeah.
Still snuck up on me.
Yeah.
Even though I knew it was coming all year. But it wasn't too bad. Got out, had a good weekend, got away, had all the family call, make all the 30 jokes. And I skydived. So skydove? Skydove?
Yeah.
Skydove on my 30th birthday. So it was like, feeling young.
And we also did like a nice
we did
nice sunrise in Sydney Harbour for you.
Yeah, a little sunrise morning kayaks.
A little surprise from your girlfriend.
Yeah, everyone
very
surprised
nice.
me. It was very nice. I can't believe she got that many people up at 4.
Well, I can't believe we didn't call it out last week because we were literally doing the podcast and we were getting up in the morning to do it. And I was sat there and you were like, "What are you up to?" And I was like,
"Fuck.
What am I up to?"
You're like, I need to get out of here early, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? You're like, I have work to do.
Yeah,
right? I was
like,
9 o'clock at night, Tommy.
Yeah, but to be fair though, you did push it back from like starting at 7 till like half 8.
I don't know what happened, but my point is, I really gotta get up. I gotta get to bed. I was like, okay, man, jeez, you got an early start. I get it. Had I only known.
What have you been up to this week, mate? I know you've been away a lot.
Yeah, been away.
Not a lot of content on your side, I assume.
Didn't have a lot of time to catch up on content. What did I watch? I tried to convince. So I finished the Queen's Gambit finally.
Oh yeah.
I also finished the Haunting of Bly Manor. I liked the way it ended. It was good. I know I talked about that like months ago, and I was just stuck on episode 8.
I can't even remember you starting talking about it.
Yeah, it's an old one, but it was good. I highly recommend those 2 series. The Haunting of both of them on Netflix. Haunting of I think Hill House, and then Haunting of Bly Manor. Both quite good.
Haunting of Bly Manor.
Yeah, both good. Then what else, man? I got Gale Breath of the Wild, the Zelda game.
That's meant to be one of the best video games of all time.
Dude, I got it for her because she was like, "Oh, I love Ocarina of Time." And I played Ocarina of Time. I don't remember if I ever finished it, but I liked it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I liked it. I think it was like too hard for me when I got it.
Is that
it's like the N64. Anyway, this one, I got it for her. I was like, this is going to be cool.
So you got a Switch?
She'll dig it. Yeah, I got her a Switch for Christmas. And
really? I didn't
this
know
game
that.
and the Switch.
So I've literally been considering buying a Switch forever and not done it.
I always was like that. Well, how lame, right? And then now I was like, fucking awesome.
Is it? Is it
you
good?
can just play on a plane. You can play.
Nice. I'll borrow at some point to play that. Literally, that Zelda game.
No, it's fucking cool. You might look like a nerd, going to like Melbourne for a business trip, and you just pull out your Nintendo Switch in your suit.
I mean, if you could fly to Melbourne. Can we fly to Melbourne yet?
Yeah, we cannot. No. Actually, you can fly to Melbourne.
I think they just changed it recently.
You can fly to Melbourne. I don't know if you have to
I think you need a permit, which sounds laborious.
Laborious. God, how fucking English are you? You need a permit, and it sounds laborious.
Learn some
and
words.
There's probably a large queue as well.
We're all drinking tea with our pinkies out. Yeah, Learn some words, bro. Fuck me, go to school.
That game is crazy. It started with me helping her, and then I was like, this is fucking cool.
This is great.
What the fuck is this game? I got her. I'm not supposed to be playing video games, but this is scratching an itch.
Oh, yeah, because you were taking
I
two
took a
months
week
off.
A
whole
right?
week.
Helped her with the boss, and now I've got my own save file, and it's all going to shit.
So obvious.
It's all going to shit.
Yeah, but obviously you were away for like a good 3 or 4 days, so not much time to catch up with.
Yeah, no. So, because it was a Switch, I was playing on the way up while she was driving. It was cool.
That's why you didn't come up with any podcast ideas.
True. She didn't tell me she brought the Switch, and then you talked to me about it, and then I was like, oh yeah, I'll do it. And then she goes, oh, I brought the Switch if you want to play. I was like, oh,
bro, priorities, man. Come on.
Oh,
come on, bro. Help me out a little bit.
I can get into the world of Hyrule.
What have I been doing this week then? No, I mean, to be honest with you, man, like I haven't stuck into a lot of content. I've been hectic busy with work, but I did get around to one thing that we're probably going to talk about in a bit of detail at some point, which is the WandaVision show, which has finally come out.
You're allowed to talk about it. I'm okay if you spoil things. It's not what I'm looking forward to.
What I mean is, I think we should do a proper episode. I think we should do a wrap episode when all the episodes are out in like 7 weeks' time, whatever it is, and do like a proper wrap. We can't give anything away. Like, it's the first two. The first two are the most like white bread episodes of all time. It's really strange.
Is it basically sitcom? Is it what I
That's
thought
what
it was?
every episode. Yeah. But it's so well done. It's really interesting. There's a little bit of that going on. But it's a lot of hijinks in there. I like a lot of the stuff going on. I actually got a bunch of messages about this from, thanks to friend of the show Andy, friend of the show Steve, friend of the show Matt, all talking about this. Friend of the show Tom did actually message. He was some really interesting points he made here. He said he was interested to know if it would be kind of go Matrix style with the plot in terms of.
Is it an algorithm?
You not having seen it, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about. But it's kind of Inception in some. There's a very specific scene at the end of the first episode, and you're a bit like, it's like Inception. It's crazy.
There's kind of a glitch or something.
You'll see it as soon as you watch it, you'll know exactly what I mean. And friend of the show Andy, thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate the correspondence. Chucking in there as well, saying his exact words were he's not sure where it's going. None of us are. Yeah. But he also says, but the first couple of episodes were fun enough to keep him watching. It's saying it's fun enough to keep him watching. I actually made my girlfriend sit and watch it with me on Friday. I said to her, look, I'm just going to watch one of these things just to see what it's like, and then we can turn it off to watch whatever you want. And she's like, okay, cool. We watched an episode, and then she was like, let's watch the next episode.
Really?
I was like, you're actually really interested. That's awesome. But then I ended up going into like a full half an hour spiel about the MCU and explaining why this is interesting. And then I had to go. So basically, what I've done is
at least she feigned interest. Gail would just be like, "Oh, really?" and just walk out the room.
Seriously, I've made a deal with her that every time she wants to watch a rom-com, I'll watch one with her, but she has to watch an MCU movie afterwards. So
fair deal.
It's a pretty good deal on my behalf,
mate. Yeah, it's fair dinkum.
But yeah, that's pretty much. I've been watching a bunch of videos about that. But there's a load of things about Sword in there. I'm sure you'll find out all about that as soon as you start looking into it. And yeah, that's pretty much been it for me this week. Just theories on WandaVision. It's been great.
It's a good thing to get on my list. Is WandaVision. I actually have another one on the Expanse has a new season, and I realized I'm like 2 seasons behind. But apparently they're ending it early again.
I thought it had been canceled.
It has been canceled, but then Amazon picked it up, and now So Sci-Fi canceled. Now Amazon was canceled it, but it's partially because there was like a Me Too thing with one of the main guys.
Yes,
and so I think it's kind of just fucked everything for all of them, which is really a bummer, dude. Like,
that is a bummer. It's
like
a great show.
Not only the fact that the show ended, but like just this guy seemed really likable, and it turns out he's a complete scumbag. Like,
but then you've heard about actually, have you heard this week about our favorite actor, Armie Hammer?
Oh, dude, what do you mean?
Have you heard?
I've already got a...
that can be
save it.
That can be weird news for the week, because why not tell me now?
Fine.
Sorry,
I had a joke coming.
I only heard about this because you told me.
Bro, because I watched this video, and it was like, have you seen like Barstool Sports, like 1 Minute Man?
Yeah.
Anyway, he's like, Armie Hammer is a cannibal? Like, that's like his headline, like, yellow journalism can't... And I was like, wait, what the fuck? It was the most intriguing video.
So weird.
He's 1 Minute Man, but his thing was actually like 5 minutes for this one.
All right,
and I watched all 5 minutes of this Instagram video. It was like, it just kept getting more and more just like weird and gruesome. And you're just like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hectic, right?
Anyway, so those texts wilding.
I mean,
somebody grab that, somebody get their man, because he's a bit out of control.
I've only scratched the surface.
He's out there killing people.
I've only scratched the surface of this, but my favorite bit of the whole thing was, and it's probably not a good thing to joke about, but somebody posted online like the joke that he's been cast as the villain in Blade. I was like, oh my God.
That's tough. That's tough.
That's a little bit deep cut for the moment.
Dude.
Well, I don't know if you've heard this week, a little bit of a more serious one, but Ray Fisher released a statement saying that the Warner Brothers Pictures had removed him from the Flash movie, just completely removed him. And he went into a lot of detail about his conversations with Walter Hamada. And he released a full statement online. It's pretty brutal, basically saying he's never going to work with these guys again. Like, they need to be exposed. It's not a good place for the Warner Brothers guys.
Is this the guy that
Ray Fisher, Cyborg. So the point of this all is that apparently on set, they were very badly mistreated by Joss Whedon, a lot of the actors, including himself. And he suggests in his article, or his statement, that the behavior was not only condoned, but allowed by the higher-ups within Warner Brothers, including Walter Hamada, which is pretty despicable, to be perfectly honest.
What was being done? Like, were they just
I don't know.
I
doesn't go into a lot of detail in terms of exactly. It just says, claims of misconduct against Joss Whedon. So Sounds pretty bad, especially for 2021 with everything, going on in the world.
Yeah.
Well, did you hear this week that the Star Wars Ahsoka Tano series is rumored to be picking up a fan favorite character from the Clone Wars? I don't know how much you know about this. I know a little bit about the Clone Wars TV show.
I should watch it. Because it's highly rated, but I'm also like, it's a kid show. But then I just watched Dark Crystal, so like, do I really care?
I was gonna mention, like what we've been up to. I tried to watch Dark Crystal.
Dude, come on.
I was 20 minutes in, I was so tired. I was like,
you got to get a couple episodes.
This is so much, and
you have to know also what you're getting into.
There's so much weird shit.
Yeah, that's what was so intriguing to me, bro. Partly because I was a bit high for a few.
Yeah, I feel like
it was the first one and the second one.
That would probably help with the first one just to
because I was just like, what is this crazy stuff? These guys are weird.
It is fucking weird.
But yeah, I'm a big fan anyway. We know that.
Well, so some images have apparently surfaced of Ahsoka Tano, but obviously the former Jedi and her companion. Fans immediately wondered if they were going to be getting together for the upcoming season of Ahsoka Tano, which is going to be really interesting. What is the character?
Sorry, is it?
Captain Rex. I should have said that straight away.
Captain Rex.
I believe Captain Rex is a former stormtrooper who turned away from being a stormtrooper. One of the clones.
Okay.
I believe. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah. So have we heard Chris Evans?
Yes.
Is it true?
I have
Is it confirmed?
Well, that's a really interesting point.
Anyway, I don't think it is confirmed, but we've gotten leaks that apparently Chris Evans is renegotiating or close to closing a contract to return
very close, apparently,
as Captain America in the MCU. And
he tweeted moments after this news broke, just saying "news to me," which you may say
it's a classic.
You may say
is
a no, but there is no "no" in that sentence, and I'm like, I think it might be true.
Well, this is like always what they do though. To stop things from leaking, they always deny it.
Look at all of the actors who are now going in all of the Marvel TV shows. We talked about all of them weeks ago when we started this podcast, and they're all now confirmed.
And it also could be it doesn't have to be a new fucking movie or a new whole show. Although there was an indication that it might be a show.
Ooh.
Could be.
Who knows?
He could also just be the Tony Stark that kind of is in a couple of the movies here or there as it happened throughout the last phase.
One thing I was talking about with a buddy, and I would love to happen, is in some of the comic books, he becomes Old Man Cap. And Old Man Cap is essentially literally that.
Would he just be in old makeup the whole time?
Yeah, well, maybe. He takes on the sort of Nick Fury role.
No, it'd be cool. I just think it would suck for him. Would he want to do that? If he signed on, I don't think he'd be down to be in old person makeup for the entire thing. Anyway.
Well, talking of MCU, did you hear this week that comicbook.com exclusively revealed? Comicbook.com is actually one of my favorites, by the way, just in case. Just give them a little plug. I like those guys. Okay. They exclusively revealed that Daredevil's Charlie Cox has rapped on the set of Spider-Man 3. So not only has he snuck on and done his pieces, he's already done and he's out. So Charlie Cox is apparently...
So is that a leak?
Apparently confirmed. Yeah, it must be a leak.
That's a bummer. I kind of would have liked to just have that surprise me.
Me too.
But that's what we get for following this shit intensely. Yeah,
I'm pretty... Well, that's one of the things, right? So I have this rule with trailers. I will watch the first trailer of something, the very first trailer that comes out, and if I like the look of it, I'll watch the movie.
Okay.
So I will not watch every single trailer running up to it. I might watch the first trailer a couple of times. I might rewatch it. No, it's fair because
by the third one, you're you know half the movie.
Goddamn movie.
Unless it's a Christopher Nolan movie, you know nothing.
I still don't know anything. I've seen all of them.
You know nothing, and you will continue to know nothing the entire film.
There's a couple of more bits of news that we're going to talk. We're going to talk about Mortal Kombat later on. I don't know if you heard, but there's some new images. The first images of it have been released, and it's definitely going to be R-rated. So that's going to be interesting. Did you also hear?
That's good. It's Mortal Kombat, man.
It's coming out soon as well. It's apparently coming out in April.
Fucking rated R.
Did you hear that Ethan Hawke has been cast to play the villain in Moon Knight?
I did see that.
That's a really interesting one. I haven't seen
Ethan Hawke in anything in a while.
He looks so much older than you'd think he would.
I mean, well, that's what I was thinking. I was like,
we talk about this every time.
I was about to Google him. I was like, he hasn't been anything in a while.
Well,
I mean, he's still got rugged good looks.
He does.
He's got rugged good looks.
Did you also see that Godzilla vs. Kong got our first looks at the trailer?
I did.
We didn't get a full trailer. We got a few clips. It looks really great.
Did you actually like it, or are you just saying that?
I told you last week. I'm truly excited for that movie. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be just stupid monster madness with Millie Bobby Brown there for some reason. Who knows? It could have a really deep meaning to it. That's
maybe. Probably not.
Probably not.
Oh yeah, Ethan Hawke's gonna pull off this villain very well. Looks good.
I tell you what, man, I'm loving the fact that Captain America might come back in some. I mean,
it
some
is
form.
wild. I really would not have guessed that, but maybe when they got Thor.
Maybe not even that. Maybe think about like Loki's in a completely separate timeline now. Could he be in that?
No, I just meant like I'm just surprised he came back.
Oh yeah,
I thought he was done. I thought Chris Evans was done with the role.
I think he was less done than Robert Downey Jr. was.
Well, Robert Downey Jr. had been like carrying the.
You tell me now, right? They offer Robert Downey Jr. $20 million to come back into the movie. He's not saying no.
Well, he loves that character, but like
he does now because nothing else has worked for him since.
Well, I mean,
how that crappy Doolittle movie?
But he like loves animals. That was a passion project. I think.
Was it really?
But to be fair, like, do you really? I mean, once you're that iconic in a character, like in a thing like the MCU, like it's gonna be really hard to come back from it. Like that role is so iconic, and it's so like tied to his personality a bit as well. Like I don't think anyone else could have played it that well.
I don't think.
I think it is partially like Tony Stark. There's a bit of that in him.
And this is kind of what we were talking about last week.
His own humor.
This is kind of what we were talking about the other week when you were saying you don't feel like the current actors who are in the roles in the MCU have got enough clout to really drive it forward the same way. You know, you Chris Evans did and you Robert Downey Jr. did. I kind of agree with that.
Yeah. So point being, like, I just don't know that he'll ever be able to recover for that. Maybe he just needs to get back to doing like some really, really indie flicks. You know what? Chris Evans did something really, really good right after. What was it? Knives Out?
Yeah.
Fucking good.
I haven't seen it, but I know.
Small role, like not a huge role for him, but like good in it and got, you know, I think
he's a great actor though.
He needs something like that. And Dr. Doolittle was not that or
he
whatever it was.
Sincere really well.
Yeah.
Sincere is the point of like could be crazy.
Knives Out, man. Give it a watch.
Yeah, I do need to give it a watch.
No spoilers. Give it a watch.
It's certainly been. I know what happens, unfortunately. So it's on the list though.
Is that one?
Well, speaking of Mortal Kombat a moment ago, that's going to sort of nicely segue into our main topic. If you're in the main topic theme.
Main topic theme. Main topic theme.
You've just given up completely.
We're at the main topic, motherfuckers. It's gonna rain.
It's gonna rain.
It's gonna rain.
Did your brother ever
the weather forecast?
Did your brother ever hit you back up?
With what?
About some things?
Oh God, I haven't fucking even tried, mate. It's on a long list of things to do.
Well, what we thought we'd do this week is you know, a lot of stuff we've been talking about recently and has come up have been about reboots. So what we thought we'd do is we'd go through just a couple of them that are coming out soon to set the scene, and then maybe do a tiny deep dive on some reboots that we like to see.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, you know, comic book movies or you know, any.
Though there are a few.
Or superhero
sprinkled
stuff.
In there.
A few sprinkled in there, but just reboots that we would like to see and why, and maybe just a little bit about how that could could work.
Some of these we touched on last week. So for the ones that are upcoming.
Hey, the one that I wanted to talk about the most was the Rebootuation. We've coined that term.
Rebootuation.
The Suicide Squad.
It's of Suicide Squad, yeah.
It's not. It's really neither. But this was kind of
we don't know what it is. What do you mean it's neither? That's what the point of the word is.
This was the catalyst for this conversation. I was like, he was making fun of Rebootuation, and then we decided to talk about it.
You also tried to argue with me before this started that Space Jam 2 isn't a reboot. It's a sequel, but it's also a reboot.
That's a Rebootuation as well. That's exactly the same.
But you're saying that it's not a continuation. This is a continuation. It's
how
number
much do you want to
2.
bet?
It's this
what
Space Jam 2. It's not Ghostbuster.
Still kind of a reboot.
It's not freaking
what
whatever.
What do you bet that Michael Jordan will make a cameo in Space Jam 2?
He'd have to.
He has to, right?
If he doesn't, then LeBron's being a dick.
It can't be LeBron's quest, unless he didn't want to go.
Well, I think LeBron.
Unless he didn't want to go and film during COVID.
I mean, yeah, he's getting kind of old. Smokes his cigars.
Not
MJ would totally survive COVID. Come on.
This is really annoying because a lot of the ones that I would have liked to have put on my list of things that I would like to be rebooted are actually being rebooted.
Dude, for sure. And also, what I realized is like
not Suicide Squad, by the way.
Yeah. Again, Rebootuation.
Let's just not talk about Suicide Squad again, please. Not again.
What I realized was like I actually don't. Not only all the ones that I wanted have already or are in the cards or already have recently been made. Some good examples were like Jumanji.
You wanted to see a reboot.
I wanted to see some continuation of that story.
I just think any story that has or had Robin Williams in, I just don't think you should. You just leave it alone.
So to be fair, that was my concern.
Right.
Like, it was more like as a kid, I was always waiting for number 2. I was like, they left it on a cliffhanger. It was such an amazing movie, big part of the childhood.
Did you see the new one?
I did see the new one. I haven't seen the third one.
Was it good?
There's 3 now.
The Rock one.
Yeah, The Rock, dude. So
Karen
what I'll say
Gillan,
about
Jack
it,
Black.
I totally agree with you. Like, it's kind of like, not only that, like anything with Robin Williams, like, don't touch it. That was a good movie. Like, do you want to mess with it? And they didn't like just rehash it.
Right.
They took it in a weird new modern
Different
direction. So if you're
direction,
gonna do that, like, fair
I
enough,
heard
do
that,
it that
actually.
way.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but it's nothing like the original, nor is
Right.
it nearly as good. But I laughed
Well,
throughout.
the one we both chose as our most anticipated for this coming year is also a reboot, which is June.
Yes.
June?
Dune. Yes.
Dune. That's
That
how you
is a
say it,
reboot,
Dune.
I guess. You're right.
Which is, it is a reboot. It's going to be incredible. Obviously, we've spoken.
That's
We've
such
talked about this a lot. It's
why does that to me feel like it shouldn't be considered a reboot? Because it never really got off the ground. It was never really a
Tough.
popular thing.
But it does kind of have like a cult following. The
Like
original
Jumanji
movie.
it was popular.
It was a
That's
big
why
popular
they're
movie.
rebooting it.
But like a lot
Dune
of
was like
ones,
they never did it justice, so we need to do it again.
some honorable mentions never really made like big waves. So for example, He-Man, that's getting a reboot.
Yeah, I guess it counts.
That's
For some reason, it just feels like it shouldn't. But it
Well,
does.
all right then. Well, a couple more. We're gonna go through these pretty quick. We don't have to spend a lot of time here. But like Ghostbusters Afterlife, we've talked
we'll
about
be
this.
good. We'll be talking
I'm
about
excited to see that. It's Stranger Things, but with ghosts.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat. We mentioned it a moment ago. That's now coming out on 16th of April, which is so soon.
Crazy.
Like that's so soon. We haven't even
There
seen a
hasn't even
trailer.
yet. Yeah.
Like,
they
what?
just showed the Mortal Kombat sign.
Well, like I said before, there's some images have been released online.
Yeah. Can I ask for the Dark Crystal, because it's been canceled, to be rebooted? Is that fair?
No, and it's not a
Even though it was
movie.
canceled this
And it's
year.
not a movie.
Well, it was a movie.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway,
You do
sorry,
you.
I'll stop.
You can
I'll
have that
stop
if you
asking.
want.
I'll
I
stop
think
asking.
that's too long form of a story.
Well, it wasn't. That's the thing. Anyway, I digress.
Okay,
I'll
we digress,
fanboy,
yeah.
I'll fanboy all the time about it.
Yeah. So the next one I had written down was Fantastic Four. We've already sort of fanboyed about that already. But the last one I wanted to mention, just before we dive into things we want to see, Escape from New York.
So remind me, because like
Escape
it sounds
from
so
New York.
familiar,
Ugh.
but
I'll remind you, it's the original is a seminal John Carpenter movie. I love John Carpenter. What a legend. This was announced back in February 2019. It's going to be directed by Lee Windell, who did Insidious 3, which is actually a pretty good one. Upgrade, which is a great movie you should watch if you haven't seen it yet.
I haven't. What is it? But what is it about?
I'm going to get
Escaping
into,
from
I'm
New
gonna get into
York?
I'm just giving you I'm just giving you the overview before I jump into it. So I'm going to tell you exactly what it is ripped from the internet. In the near future, crime is out of control in New York City's Manhattan, and Manhattan has become a maximum security prison. When Air Force One is hijacked and crashed into an island, the president is taken hostage by a group of inmates. Snake Plissken, Kurt Russell, a former Special Forces soldier turned criminal, is recruited to retrieve the president in exchange for his own freedom.
This is absurd.
How great is that?
This is absurd.
Like that character is literally the character model for Snake.
I'm watching it.
In
I'm
Mortal
looking at it. I was
Kombat.
like, this literally looks like the guy from Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid. That's the one. Yeah, that's what he's literally that character. That's
He's
who that character's
modeled
based on. Young Kurt Russell. How great is that?
Good for Kurt.
That film's incredible. That is one of my favorite.
Kurt Russell's still doing movies.
Not really. I don't think so.
Has he been in a couple?
Well, he was in the MCU.
Has he been in a couple? He was. Was he in a couple of Quentin Tarantino movies? Or am I making that up? Or is there a guy that looks kind of like him that's in
I don't
it?
know. Let's have a little search. Well, you know what? Let's not search the internet. Let's just say he's in some
Yeah,
Tarantino
he
movies.
must be in it.
I believe it. You believe it.
It must be.
It's the what was it? The Mandela effect. It really happened. For anyone who doesn't know what the Mandela effect is and they want to get freaked out for an evening, go and read up on the Mandela effect. So anyway, are there any other ones that are coming out this year that you want to
I
touch
think
on?
you covered them, man.
Super
Space
quick?
Jam 2, Mortal Kombat, Ghostbusters, and we already talked about them last week, so I'll save it. But
Well,
there were others that I think I saw as I was going
Yeah.
through this that I didn't write down because I didn't want to make the whole thing about things already coming out.
Well, I think what that does is really, it sort of sets the framework that
Yeah.
obviously reboots are massive business in Hollywood now. Like, there's one coming out every 15 minutes, and if you think your favorite property is safe from a reboot, you better watch out.
Yeah, and I
because
was gonna
Hollywood's
say-
coming for it.
And we made this topic because, like, honestly, I was gone for the weekend. And we needed something
Yeah,
a bit easier to talk about. But
I find it really hard.
it was hard, and it's
Yeah.
mainly hard because, like, I realized I don't really want reboots.
No,
Give
me
me some
neither.
original shit.
Ooh,
But
yeah,
because of that, it was almost like a devil's advocate conversation. Like,
Mm.
try and find one that you actually do want.
so we've kind of got 5-ish each, right?
Yeah,
We cross over on
there
a
was
couple.
a few that we
Do you
both
want
crossed
to
over.
go with your first one? What's yeah?
My first one is so absurd that maybe you should go first.
No, you go first. I want to know yours.
So,
God.
I don't know. I don't even know how to say this. Does anybody remember Gargoyles, the animated TV show from their youth? Anybody in the audience?
Never
Anybody there?
Like,
that a hand in the back row? No. Crickets.
Never do that while I'm taking a sip of water. I nearly spat all over my own equipment.
Oh man, this was a really cool TV show. I don't really remember anything about it.
I remember it.
But I remember I was super into it. It actually does have a cult following, but like so does it. Like I hate saying that because like everything does, but I think it has like a cult following of like smart people. You know,
different dude.
Not the dumbies.
Yourself.
Exactly. I'll give you the little. It's an animated television series produced by Walt Disney, so they own it. You know, they got to be thinking about Disney Plus, putting stuff out. I think 1994 was when it originally aired. The series features a species of nocturnal creatures known as gargoyles that turn to stone during the day. Yes, we know what a gargoyle is. Thank Wikipedia. After spending 1,000 years in an enchanted, petrified state, the gargoyles, who have been shipped from medieval Scotland, reawaken in modern-day New York City and take on roles as the city's secret nighttime protectors.
That's it. There's like a line in there. There's like, I remember this now because there's a line in the opening credits where it's something like, "You won't reawaken until you fly above the clouds."
Yeah.
And they get put on top of a skyscraper, so they obviously are above the clouds.
Yeah. And then there's like a thing where they're trying to like, maybe I saw a movie, but I mainly remember like a movie of it that I would watch. It was like a movie add-on to the show. Anyway, and it was really interesting.
How do you imagine this though? Like, because it's surely not going to be animated again.
No, it would have to be like live action with some crazy prosthetics.
You know what I just thought of? Like, and it kind of goes back. It kind of harkens a bit to the Dark Crystal. Just thinking about that. Do you ever remember the
puppeteering gargoyles?
Do you ever remember the movie Gremlins?
Yeah.
Do you ever watch it growing up? I just imagine it being like that. Really
that counts as a Christmas movie, doesn't it?
No.
Surely it does. It's on Christmas. If Die Hard does.
Wow.
As an aside.
Do you want to go to my first one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because my first one is the best Christmas movie of all time.
I didn't even mean to do that.
Which
God
is
damn
Die
it.
Hard. I appreciate it. You're literally chucking it up today so I can like knock it back at you. Well, my first one is Die Hard.
Yeah.
So we all know the story behind Die Hard. We also know that Bruce Willis is absolutely sick of making movies. He's clearly just making them because he's bored and he needs more money. He clearly doesn't need more money.
Wouldn't you just be on a beach? Is he married? Is he single?
Enjoy your retirement.
Is he?
I don't know. I probably should know. Look, from my perspective, they haven't been good since the third one, right? Die Hard with a Vengeance, low key, is actually probably my favorite one with Samuel L. Jackson.
Man, I haven't seen a Die Hard movie since like I saw the first two, I think. The
3
rest,
came out in 1995, so I assume you'll have seen it.
Anytime there's like 7 movies in a series, I'm like, surely it can't be good.
Well, it's
minus Harry Potter, which also could
look
be bad.
yeah. Oh, we talked about this last time.
Yeah.
But this, I think, like my way of looking at it is he went from being like your everyman hero, which he is in the first 3. He's actually just like a normal cop who's just like dragged off to do these things. And then he just literally becomes an action hero, and it doesn't suit the character, it doesn't make sense in the Die Hard. So it's gone from
like
being
Rambo.
Yeah, 100%. It turns into an action hero, and that's not what the point of John McClane is. So from my perspective, I'd be like, you know what, just fucking recast him as someone who's a better everyman. I'd love to see someone like...
You mean like a full rehash?
Yeah, we're talking reboots here.
Yeah,
I want this completely rebooted. Like, I mean, go back to square one. Go back to the things that made it great, you know. It's got to be, you know, like crime, action, espionage. It's got to be at Christmas. And I was really trying hard to find actors who sort of fit that everyman mold, in inverted commas, everyman. Mm-hmm. And I was really struggling to find anyone who really...
Well, this would have been like, was this one of his first ones?
First movie.
Like, I think sometimes like you just needed to just cast a new motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Well, the only one I could really think of was like the dude who plays Hopper in Stranger Things.
Hopper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The chief.
Yeah.
Because when he slimmed down for Hellboy or whatever he slimmed down for, he looked like a pretty
he's
good
got
everyman.
the kind of like humor for it.
Exactly. He's got the chops, and he's not like every actor right now just looks like some sort of fucking model. I'm like, people don't look like that in the real world. Stop it.
Yeah. I mean, it's Hollywood.
Yeah. What's your next movie then? Go on, tell me. What else do you want to see rebooted?
I'm scrolling down. I had a lot of notes for Gargoyles, so let me.
Gargoyles? Did I just cut you off the Gargoyles?
No, that's fine.
Sorry.
Tim Burton, Guillermo del Toro, like doing a prosthetic version of that and making it a little more gothic and dark could be cool. Anyway, that's my last bit.
They become like sidekicks.
Dude, my next one's also so weird. Like, all right, like guys, I'm sorry. Page Master.
Oh, you told me this. Tell me more about Page Master.
This is a Macaulay Culkin movie from like peak Macaulay Culkin.
I know nothing about this movie. Tell me everything.
Anyway, I'll give you the synopsis. A young boy seeks shelter from a storm. So he's bullied. He's a kid that's bullied a bunch. You can tell he's a bit of a nerd, likes to read. And like
Nerd.
he's like running from his bullies, a storm's happening, and he's like, fuck, where do I go? Where do I go?
Yeah.
Like he's having his dad's kind of like an athletic dad who wants him to play sports and he doesn't like sports, that kind of
He
thing.
likes reading.
Yeah, exactly. He's got his tree house.
So he's a
runs
nerd, so he's us.
He's a nerd. And he runs away from the bullies, is the premise of the start. Hides in the library of all places because it's the only place he feels at home. And the young boy seeks shelter in a library from a storm. Here he is transformed into an animated illustration and has to work through obstacles from classic books and literature to return to life. So to me, like as somebody who likes to read, who's also a nerd, I was like, I loved this as a kid. I loved it. It was so cool.
I'm not laughing at the premise. I actually think the premise is very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because I imagine you as a kid being like,
Dude.
I want this to be me.
I loved it, bro. It also had like scary moments. I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but great like old school movie that like it's creative, it's different. Could get kids back into reading. You could change like the things that they did were that like the stories teacher verse through are pretty old literature. That
almost sounds like it could be a really cool, just to go on a slight tangent, a cool TV show. Like if you could split it up and each episode's about a different book.
Yeah, you could. You totally could. And even if you
bring back Macaulay Culkin, he still looks like he's 11.
Have a little.
Macaulay Culkin's a kid actor for all of these movies. Yeah. He's just he's just an adult playing a child actor, and no one says anything about it. It's just there. Like, well done, Timmy.
I saw a tweet like, I'm 40.
Yeah.
Do you feel old yet? Yeah. Like I was like, fuck you, dude.
He's 40.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Anyway, I think it'd be like you could easily get like a new, whoever the next new kid actor is, find someone to play it. And you could do a twist on the books. They wouldn't have to be the same ones. You could throw in Harry Potter.
It's awesome.
You could find something that was public domain, maybe not Harry Potter, and then make it a little bit more modern and do a twist on it.
Well, I'm going to segue off the back of yours again because I'm not going to go to my next one, but one that's on my list is actually Harry Potter.
Yeah, it was on mine too.
I think it's on your list too. So let me just explain why this movie exactly, this set of books exactly. So obviously I've talked before about obviously growing up with the books, blah blah blah, and from my perspective. Like, I don't know where to start with how bad these movies are. Like,
where to start?
They're bad, but from my perspective,
that bad.
From my perspective, what they lacked is an author, which sounds stupid, but the same way like the MCU has like a Kevin Feige who literally stands over everything and like sets it in line and makes sure that each one follows up and has the post-credit scene that is actually going somewhere. It never had that.
No, you're right.
And you could just tell that it had too many directors overall. So
it could have been cooler.
It could have been. Sure. It could have been awesome if it had themes that ran through and were maintained. My favorite one personally was I'm never going to say this right. Alfonso Cuarón,
Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah, who for me, he captured the turn into the dark side way better than any of the other ones did. But I know he can also do kids movies too. Like he started doing kids movies, so you could have him do all of them. Just hire him for 7 fucking movies and let him do it across time.
Yeah.
But also from my perspective, I think mostly, bar maybe Dumbledore, they were pretty well cast overall.
That's the hard part about doing a reboot. Like, how do you...
The main fucking character who is terrible.
Radcliffe?
Just dire. He's
always
wooden.
whining, and he's fucking small, whiny.
So wooden.
Like,
I don't think he was helped by the materials given to
like Harry actually like is kind of a likable dude, if not a hothead in the books.
Yeah.
Like, and you're like
he's just like he's supposed to be a bit of a blank slate, so you reflect on him.
And he's kind of like he's a mate, and he's a bit of a hothead. And he is annoying, but Harry's actually like he steps up.
Every time.
So it's like it's not that.
And I think one thing I wrote down for this, and it's just don't let J.K. Rowling have too much control.
Do you reckon that it was her, or just the fact that like it wasn't a thing then to have somebody be like the ultimate like curator of a whole 7? Yeah, I mean,
absolutely,
run. Like,
absolutely, probably.
It's. I don't even think it was like because she influenced it. I think it was just because like this is not the way things are done back then. They wrote the script, they made the movie. It's just.
I think they would. It's a bit like what they're doing with the original MCU movies. They were asking for input from her, the same way they're asking for input from like some of the original writers on the Marvel stuff, like your Stan Lee's, etc. And don't get me wrong, that can be helpful, but you shouldn't rely on it.
Yeah.
And I think that sort of ruined those movies. And for me, man, like I literally grew up with those books. I grew up with those movies. And by the time we got around to the last one, I was like, I don't even want to fucking watch this. This is
because they
dire.
butchered some of the best ones.
Some of the best ones.
And some of the best, like the sixth one was so much better book than the movie
so
was.
much better.
They fucked that one up the worst. But I would say totally would be down.
Yeah.
But like, it's just gonna you're right, because they cast it so well.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really hard to recast it and have people not scoff at that, or you wait literally like 2 more decades.
Well, no, I think that's it as well. I think that don't quote me on this. I mean, who the fuck would? But I think there's a clause J.K. Rowling wrote into the contract that they can't remake it for like 2 more decades. It's literally like 20, 30 years. It's a ridiculous amount of time.
Good.
But that actually works in Warner Brothers' favor as well, because those actors can be the face of it in like the theme parks, in like everything else for this serious amount of
generation.
Time. Exactly, for an entire generation of kids, so they don't have it remade. Yeah. Unfortunately, like we want them to.
Which they will, though. They will eventually. There's too much money.
They absolutely will. There's too much money, and I just think I picked a kid actor who would be good for this right now, but in like 10, 20 years, there's obviously going to be better kid actors who are out there. I chose Noah Jupe. Jupe?
Who the fuck is that?
He's the kid from A Quiet Place. He's super young, but he would obviously grow up as the role goes, and he's so good in A Quiet Place. He's phenomenal. I think he's probably my pick for that. I was just going through, but then as well, it's never expressly said, and like going on a tangent, it's never expressly said in any of the books that Harry's necessarily white. So I think you should open it up to anyone.
Except I hear you. Except like the illustrations that she totally
she didn't do
she approved them. She always does this shit. This is why J.K. Rowling bugs me. She totally like retcons things for the moment. She's just like, oh yeah, like I never said Hermione with Granger was like white. I just said she had curly. In fact, I gave you a lot of indicators she wasn't. It's like, yeah, but then you also approved all the illustrations and the casting of a white girl in the movie. So like, stop this, J.K. Rowling.
From my perspective, I
appreciate what you're saying.
A bit more diverse with their casting.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Fair enough.
But okay, like, what's your next one? We've talked about Harry Potter way too much anyway, in general.
It's fair. What is my next one? My next one is another. None of mine are like high quality, top notch stuff. Highlander.
My God, I nearly said Highlander. That was on my to-do list,
and only because like it's famously bad.
Yes, so I love the first movie though.
But you did love it, but it's like famously bad. I don't even think I've seen it all the way through.
I think, you know what? I honestly think there's about 4 or 5 movies, and there's also a TV show. Do you know that?
I didn't realize that.
They did a TV show not long ago.
The iconic, like there can only be one Highlander.
Yeah.
Is that from the first
one? And then
at
the end of the first one, he kills the one who's, and then they find this weird way of bringing them back. It's it's ridiculous.
My point is like they could actually like make a redo it, and it could be cool.
Like I'm absolutely on board with that, and I would love it. You know how he had Sean Connery as his like mentor figure. Mm-hmm. They should have the dude who was the original Highlander as that mentor figure. Who was
they could do that.
Who was a Spaniard with a Scottish accent.
If he's actually like, if it actually, see, I almost feel like they should. It's hard. You want to make like a serious movie because it's like iconically bad. So do you want to like make it good, or do you want to like make it iconically bad again?
Both.
I don't think you can
at the same time.
Anyway, I just brought it up because
I would like to see a good version of it, but at the same time, you make a very good point. I'd love to see it. Like, one thing I wouldn't like them to do though is lose too much of the campiness, the kitschness about it. I think that kind of made that movie a bit like He-Man.
So you want it to be campy,
like He-Man, right? Yeah, a bit.
Not or do you want it to be like mythic, epic?
Not
like
as
that's
campy.
What you. That's what I don't know.
Not as campy. Just keep a little bit of it.
You gotta pick
just a sprinkle of it.
You can. I don't know. Anyway,
okay.
I haven't seen it recently enough to actually comment much, but I was like, that would be a good one to throw on here.
I genuinely enjoy that. We should do a rewatch of that and talk about it properly.
Down.
Because that's one movie that I'd really like to rewatch.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's do it.
My next one on the list then is probably one that literally everyone who likes any sort of superhero movie or DC movies would say. It's Green Lantern from 2000. Well, the previous movie was 2011. Just redo it.
Just scrap that one.
They've scrapped it anyway. Yeah, just like let's just rethink that character.
Yeah.
Just from the ground up. They've got how many years of history for Green Lantern? He was one of the originals, so 80 plus years of history for him. Let's just, maybe think about it before we do it. Let's just not make his villain a big cloud. Like the Fantastic Four. Nobody needs that.
Dude, I
love Ryan Reynolds, but
it was Ryan Reynolds and
did not sue him.
Also, like the fact that Ryan Reynolds, as a total aside, I agree Green Lantern should be remade, all that stuff. As a total aside, though, he played Deadpool, but that weird version of Deadpool. Did you know that was actually him as well?
Yeah. Wade Wilson.
In like the X-Men?
Yeah. In X-Men Origins Wolverine?
Something like that. Yeah, what was going on?
Real bad.
Why did he... And then they're just like, you know what? He didn't do anything in that, but let's bring him back. Change him completely. And make him actual Deadpool.
Well, no,
funny.
you know what happened? He was trying so hard to get a Deadpool movie off the ground that he accepted this role as Deadpool without knowing that they were basically going to butcher the character. And he apparently told them that fans are going to hate this. Like, this is not Deadpool.
Yeah.
And they just ignored him and did their own thing. Because the guys who created X-Men just didn't give a shit, did they? They just wanted to make some money.
Also, he was like probably not as big as he was before. So.
100% wasn't as big as he was. And I think...
Or after.
And then obviously they did the test footage for the Deadpool movie years and years ago. And then it got leaked online. Clearly he leaked it online. So they could so they could get the funding to actually make a real Deadpool movie and save the character, that's some dedication to a character
savage
like that.
Stuff right
that's
there.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
So was the test footage like good?
Well, you know that.
Apparently.
You can find it online. It's that opening scene. You know the bit where they're in the car and the car's doing the flip. It's that, but just really rough, poorly edited, and without like all the dialogue really sorted. It's incredible, and like
it makes you think like, okay, this could be good. There's something here.
Well, they obviously had that, and they were like trying to get Fox to create this movie, and Fox were just like, nah. We're not going to make an R-rated superhero movie. No one's going to see it. Makes $1 billion at the box office. So, I'm going to quickly rattle off 2 that we can jib about, like I say, and then I'll talk about one at the end, which I'm actually quite passionate about and would really like to see. So the first one I was going to mention was The Terminator. Honestly, just give up trying to fit Arnie into a movie where he doesn't fit. Just reboot it. Start again. Who cares? I'd be so down to see like a twist on the original. Get a new actor in.
There's been too many though.
That's the point. I'm saying just scrap them all. Do what Hollywood's doing right now.
That's what they already
scrap everything after 2.
He's not in it anymore, is he? He was in the last one. He's in the one with Emilia Clarke.
He's in every single one.
He's not in every single one.
He's in every
Wasn't
single
there
one
with Christian Bale where he wasn't in it?
Terminator. Would love to see it done well. Next one something I've talked about on the show a lot is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Look. They've tried this movie twice. Both times they've been absolutely shy.
They did reboot this.
I would love to see them do an actual good one. So I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, there was a gritty fan-made, 10-minute YouTube clip that was released of Power Rangers done as an up-to-date version. It's fucking incredible.
Power Rangers wasn't gritty though.
Well, I'm not saying it was, but we're talking about reboots. I want you to reboot this shit and do it properly.
Oh, I do have another one. Sorry, I totally forgot.
It's all right. We can come back. Yeah. You should absolutely watch. I implore anyone who hasn't seen it to go and find. Just type in fan-made Power Rangers shot online. It's in YouTube. It's incredible. There was a big backlash, and the studio made them take it down. And all the fans were like, "Fuck you, put it back up." So they made this massive petition, got it back online. It's insane. It's exactly what you want an updated gritty Power Rangers to be and look like. And consider it's a fan-made thing. It's got I can't remember who the actors are, but it's got decent actors in it. It's so
there's dialogue.
It's phenomenal.
I thought it was just gonna be a jump sequence. You know how they somersault everywhere?
If you want, we can pause this and we can watch it right now. It's
we'll do that at the end.
Honest to God, it's probably my favorite fan-made thing ever. It's incredible. So go on, what's your next one?
Call Me Crazy. But all this Army Hammer chat got me thinking.
Stop.
We need to have a remake of The Silence of the Lambs, a reboot of that franchise. Hannibal Lecter, get Army Hammer cast, and I'm just but I do think that that. I mean, it's hard because what's his name? What's the
Anthony
guy?
Hopkins.
He's so iconic for it,
He's
right?
Incredible, yeah.
But something of that ilk, right? It's just creepy. It's fucking weird.
No, I love that, and there's so many good actors who can do that creepy now.
For sure.
I love. Have you seen Get Out?
Yes.
Now I'm gonna completely forget, but the brother is so creepy.
He is, and he's weird with the sister, isn't he?
Yes. What's his name?
Caleb Landry Jones.
Oh, that's his name.
Yes.
He's just got that look about
I mean,
dude
can play a cannibal.
Can pull the crazy look off. That's what I mean.
Dude can play a cannibal.
Or the other one I was thinking of was is it Darcy Montgomery, the dude from Stranger Things who plays Billy?
Yeah,
because Billy's got that creepy.
Well, they both are this. He honestly looks like a poor man's version of Billy. This guy.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Either of them, I think he could be the creepy younger brother.
Yeah.
But yeah, I completely see where you're coming from there. Like, I think in terms of the mainstream of horror movies, if you've got to reboot anything, that's a great one to start with.
He's in a really good movie. Have you seen this movie? I've heard really good things about it.
What is it?
3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
I've never seen it though.
He's apparently a lead in this. I didn't realize that.
All right.
Just off the top of my head, the Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
Have you seen that movie?
No.
I remember. It's a pretty famous one, isn't it? Werewolf in London? I think they could reboot that. I remember liking that as a kid in the 90s.
You're just showing out random stuff here.
Yeah, I'm just throwing off the cuff.
Well, I've got one final one. Let me go into this for you because I just think you're going to really like this. Hear me out on this one. It's from 1954.
I'm listening.
It's called The Seven Samurai.
Okay.
And it was actually the inspiration for the Yul Brynner, Charles Bronson, Steve McQueen movie, The Magnificent Seven, which is a western. But that's
what I've heard. Is that on Netflix? I think it might. I
think it is. This is a samurai movie, right? Let me give you the breakdown. I'm not going to do I'm not going to do epic voice guy again. But
epic voice guy.
A veteran samurai gathers 6 samurais to protect a village against cruel bandits. As the samurai teach the natives to defend themselves, the village is attacked by a pack of 40 bandits. Now, it's real small scale, but
I was going to say that sounds like a simple plot.
But if you ever watched it, it's so simple. But it's about like a down on your luck dude who is, given the opportunity to redeem himself. It's a redemption story, right, for this one samurai. Yeah. And he goes and he helps them out, and he also gets his fellow samurais to help him. And it's incredible. It's like this last stand movie. It's like there's only a few of them, and then the villagers are obviously crap at fighting.
I love that shit, dude.
But it's unreal. I love it. And the reason I thought about this is because when we were watching The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And the episode where you first meet Ahsoka Tano?
Yeah, it's a great episode.
And they're in the village, and the village has been taken over by the evil person.
That chick is, yeah.
And then Ahsoka Tano has to fight her. All of that, the whole time, all I could think about was like a samurai movie.
It did have vibes like that. Even though like architecture on the houses and shit, because there was like that 100%, Japanese influence.
100%. And if you can reboot this, like the Seven Samurai, give it this sort of space opera feel to it. Even do it as in a similar vein to how it's done in The Mandalorian. I'd be so excited for that.
You could honestly just get like a really good director to just make a fucking cool movie the way it was.
Well, I'm just saying
modern twist on it. But you're right.
Well, they did that with the way they changed it up. And like, if you were going to change it again, is what I'm saying. I'd love it. This space opera, it would be unreal. Like if I actually watched a movie with my dad years ago. My dad, it's one of his all-time favorite movies, The Seven Samurai, and I actually just really enjoy it, mainly for his enjoyment. But at the same time, the fact that it is just down on your luck, like Last Chance Alley movie, it's so good. And like, just update it, give it that backdrop, make it like I would even love like just the Ahsoka Tano character to do that again.
Yeah,
like the whole thing was phenomenally shot, and it just made me. So many things were popping in my head when that was happening. I didn't know how to explain it to you at the time.
No, I get it. Do you like The Last Samurai, by the way, as an aside, with Tom Cruise?
It was pretty good. I thought it
was a good movie.
Yeah, good movie.
No, like besides the fact that it's like they totally like commandeering the white guy and he's the hero in a Japanese story.
The white guy's always the hero.
Yeah,
do you know that? The white guy's always the hero.
Yeah, apparently. But I like just dig that whole setting, that like theme, and like when movies tackle like is honor dead, like because like it's an honest question in today's society, like is honor dead? Like I think that's why I'm like kind of drawn to that stuff, because it just seems 100%. Like mythical, it's ancient. Like
Agreed.
We got Trump as not anymore, thank God.
Not anymore.
But like the last 4 years, it's just been crazy to like see today, and then that's I think why I like some of these movies. Sometimes it makes it more like just like interesting to dive into like what is honor. Like I love the ones that are like, what is the honorable thing? Yeah. Like, and I think Game of Thrones does that really well. It's like, right, what is honor, right? Ned Stark was like the honorable dude, but
he lost.
And also the things.
Spoilers for Game of Thrones.
Yeah, spoilers too. Fuck all you guys who haven't watched it. But it's crazy because the most honorable act he probably did in the whole series was hide a baby of his sister's that would have been butchered. It's considered his most dishonorable act by many because it's his bastard. So like, I love that kind of shit where it plays with like the concepts of it and like the ironies of it.
When we talked about this last week, I actually watched a few more of those videos about George R. R. Martin and his writing style.
I love getting stoned and watching George Martin videos.
He loves like looking at like the subtle differences, the gray areas, and that I think that's why his writing really stands out.
It's really like he's an all-time writer. Anyway,
so go on. Anyway, do you have any last couple?
I mean, I was just thinking off the cuff, like of some, to be honest, but I don't have it. Do you have a couple?
I'm gonna quick fire two at you, and then we'll wrap up. Like, what do you think about a remake of Speed? Keanu Reeves.
Oh.
On a bus.
Could be. I mean, it's a good concept. It's a funny movie.
You totally
like,
update that for today.
It's like totally like kind of novel, but I like that. What's the other one I had?
Well, I heard a really funny story about Speed. So, because Speed was so iconic, and obviously the Cruise Control came out, the second one. Eventually,
I didn't even know there was a second one.
Yeah, well, it's not got Keanu Reeves in it. They changed the lead actor. Eventually, it got to the point where, like Die Hard, people were pitching to the studios who were saying it's Speed, but on a plane. It's Speed, but on a train. And they did so many of them. They literally
Speed, but on a horse.
They literally got to the point where they're like, it's Speed, but on a bus. And they're like, hang on a minute. That's
Speed.
That's just Speed. And apparently, they're saying with Die Hard, they did the same thing. So, what was your
Do you remember Spawn?
Yeah, I never said Spawn.
I didn't know enough about him to really dive in, but I have it down in the back notes.
There was a reboot in the works. I don't know where it's at now though.
Okay. Yeah, but I thought his character was interesting. I actually don't remember his backstory or anything about him, but he just looks cool. He looks like Venom mixed with like something else.
He was a cop who was killed and did a deal with the devil to get retribution.
Yeah.
And his family couldn't remember it. I honestly can't remember the story.
Like the opposite of Punisher.
The original movie, even though I quite enjoyed the original movie, really put me off actually reading up on Spawn. So, but my last one was, before we wrap up, was Indiana Jones.
Yeah, they're already kind of doing one, aren't they?
I don't think they are. They're doing a fifth one, which is just another one. I think they should just wrap up, because he's nearly 80 now, Bloody Harrison Ford. Just give it to Chris Pratt. Anyway, that's it for.
So is that just like, is he just Steven Spielberg's new guy? Every old asset that Steven Spielberg had.
Probably.
Yeah, we're just gonna give to Chris Pine in it, or Chris. Why do I always do that? Chris Pratt.
This needs to be like a.
There's so many Chris's. It's not even Chris Pine. It was the other Chris last time.
Yeah, you can't tell which Chris. It was
Chris Pine, Chris Evans, Chris Pratt.
Well, they all fucking start with. I'm pretty sure you. Chris Evans.
Yeah. Anyway, well, how could we forget also Howard the Duck?
Oh my god.
I would love to see a reboot of Howard the Duck. Come on, make it like Ted.
Why
make it the movie I want to see.
Don't make me watch that film again.
But it'll be a new one, improved.
A lot of other podcasts I listen to do like movie commentaries where they just sit and they'll watch a movie and they'll do a commentary with it. Would you ever want to do that? Have sit watching Howard the Duck and just talk about it while
Depends on the movie. We couldn't be Howard the Duck.
We'd have to do something stupid.
It has to be something a little bit more like known so that like people are just like, what are these guys fucking talking shit about?
I know.
Like you gotta have like some memory of the scenes, I would say.
I think the most annoying thing about this podcast for me is that our worst quality in terms of sound episode is Howard the Duck, which is the first episode,
and it was a good start, I think.
Probably my favorite episode.
Yeah, I think it's a good start. And the thing is, we already had to do it twice.
Yeah,
we can't do it again.
We can't go back and do it again. Oh my god. Well, that's it for things we'd like to reboot. I do not want to see Howard the Duck rebooted, just in case anyone was wondering.
Give me what I want.
Let's wrap up. We do actually have a bit of correspondence this week. I've already mentioned a couple about WandaVision. Yeah. We do have a couple of extra ones which we kind of touched on at the beginning of the show. Thank you all for all your comments. I really appreciate it. We did have an email from friend of the show, Matt, our old favorite. How are you, mate? Hope you're keeping safe. He sent a real nice long email, so thank you again. Thank you for being real positive about the show. He also says he's got to call you out, Drey.
Oh, God.
Probably
well deserved.
Actually calls you Wet Thor. Calls you out, Wet Thor, on not finishing The Matrix. What on earth, bro?
Dude, I'm not the only one.
How did you not finish that film?
So let me be clear. I finished The Matrix. I did not finish The Matrix 3.
That's the point. How did you not finish that movie?
Matrix 3.
He also goes into a bit of detail about how The Matrix 3 actually ends. I'm not going to lie, I'd forgotten all of this.
Because it was forgettable.
Well, no. Well, yeah, but I still watched it. So the reason Neo dies is that he gets plunged into a machine in the real world that wants rid of Agent Smith. And when he realizes that he cannot be Agent Smith in the Matrix, he lets him take him over. In that moment, the machine Neo is plugged into kills him because of some virus. So basically, it kills the two of them at once.
So is it basically like that's an interesting end if they had cut out all the middle stuff where a machine has a glitch and wants to kill the machines? Yeah. That's an interesting concept. I like that as a theory on the board, but I feel like the execution with everything else of that movie is pretty lame. But
so friend of the show, Matt, also asked the question.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about Tom Hiddleston last week. Favorite of the show, Tom Hiddleston. And he mentioned, did you ever watch The Night Manager? Now, I know this because it's a BBC show that I watched the first episode of ages and ages ago. And it's a tough one. It's a real long
TV
form.
series?
Yeah, it's a real slow. It's BBC. It's real slow. And it took me a while. I really just couldn't get into it the first episode. It's one of those where you definitely have to carry on watching. I'm assuming you haven't seen it.
I haven't. I'm looking at it now. The Night Manager, Tom Hiddleston. It's got a great ranking on IMDb. It's a miniseries.
Yeah, it's got an incredible rank.
Yeah, I'd watch. It's added to the list. Good call out.
Yeah, we should probably add that. We'll definitely add that to the list. Thank you, Matt. We appreciate it. He also asked questions about WandaVision, which we will save. Because we will do a full episode of WandaVision. We will keep up Wonder Watch at the beginning of the show where I tell Drey how good it is, and he still probably hasn't watched it, even though he pretends he's a fan of these films.
This is a show. No, I will watch it this week. I promise.
Again, thank you very much, Matt. We really appreciate it. We appreciate all the correspondence, everyone messaging in how much they enjoy the shows.
Yeah. Thank you.
If you want us to suffer through anything else, please let us know. That would be great. Where can they find us, Drey?
pod_assemble.
And our Gmail is?
thepodcastassemble@gmail.com.
That's perfect. That's all we need.
How did I get that right? I don't know.
You got it right for once. That's perfect. Thanks, guys. Speak to you soon.
Thank you.
See ya.
Later.